Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Simpsons Secret, a Cromulent guide to how the Simpsons predicted everything, by Lydia, Poulteney, and James Hicks, narrated by George Newbern and Lydia Poulteney.
Introduction: Simpsons Did It, South Park. So, you may be asking why we have started this book off with a South Park quote, in a Simpsons book no less. Well, with over 700 episodes and counting, The Simpsons has literally done it all, as noted by its animated peers for many years. This assumption is to be expected from a television show that has been on the air continually for over 3 decades. The Simpsons is a TV phenomenon, secured as the longest-running US sitcom and animated show of all time. An incredible achievement for a show made up of the average Joes of society and small-town America. Originally set up as a drama in animation, the success of its relatability elevated what cartoons could truly be to audiences of all ages. The Simpsons is now able to blend itself into our universe and is critically acclaimed for its humorous satire, acutely capturing the hilarity of politics, pop culture, and world events. In fact, Matt Groening and his Yellow Family of 5 have been so on top of the world's cultural pulse, it has been said that they've even managed to predict many major historical events too. Known as the modern-day Nostradamus, it is believed that The Simpsons has correctly predicted the future many, many times, ranging from political uprisings of Cheeto-tinted presidents to the strange discovery of three-eyed fish. So let us enter the fortune teller tent together and learn the secrets of The Simpsons and the extent of its future predicting powers. We cannot guarantee that we will meet Matt Groening donning a turban, hooped earrings, and tarot cards, but we can guarantee an answer to happenings such as the tale of Siegfried and Roy. The infamous duo of German-American magicians, best known for their flamboyant acts with white lions, tigers, and no bears, oh my, they toured the world with blonde-tip mullets, tight leather trousers, and bejeweled shoulder padding. During one infamous performance on October 3rd, 2003, Roy suffered an attack from one of his cats named Montecore. The tiger dragged Roy 30 or so feet off the stage by his throat, much to the shock of the 1,500 spectators at the Mirage Casino in Las Vegas. Strangely enough, in 1993, exactly 10 years prior to Roy's accident, a very familiar and a very German duo named Gunther and Ernst entered Mr. Burns' casino in the Simpsons Season 5 episode, Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. The duo introduces Anastasia to the stage, a humiliated white tiger pedaling a unicycle, wearing a spinning hat. Whilst performing, the tiger reminisces on her peaceful life in the wild, igniting an anger that results in her attacking her German captors and tearing them to shreds, much to the shock of many, many spectators. Sounds familiar, eh? There are many theories as to how the Simpsons creators have been able to have these predictive powers, ranging from magical crystal balls to the occult. Some have even pointed accusatory fingers to their supposed ties to shadowy societies like the Illuminati, or shall we say the Stonecutters. With many episodes of The Simpsons linking through to key themes of the Illuminati, including secret societies of cult-like power and cloning, it may stand to reason how The Simpsons are able to have so much influence over our world. The infamous group's enlightened power is said to allow unexplained superiority over our planet and therefore control of future events. Or could it be something else entirely? That is a question we will answer in this book. We utilized our research to break into these supposed secrets and have conducted interviews with creators of the show, such as Bill Oakley, talented former executive producer and showrunner for The Simpsons during seasons 7 and 8. His work for the show is held in high acclaim for producing episodes to be from the famous golden era of the show, such as Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy, Who Shot Mr. Burns, and our personal favourite 22 short films about Springfield. It seems that Oakley had a knack for not only creating brilliant episodes, but for predicting worldwide events too, such as the previously discussed tiger attack on Roy Horn, COVID-19, the 2020 protests, including the tearing down of statues, and of course, killer bees. We have been able to get access into the thoughts and processes behind these episodes to find the true answer of how The Simpsons predicted everything. Aside from explaining the show's clairvoyance, we could not write this book without inserting a bit of what we do over on our YouTube channel, The Simpsons Theory. Therefore, you will be transported from our world through those iconic animated clouds to examine some Simpsons theories within its own universe. Unraveling the secret to Hans Moleman's immortality, unlocking the mystery of Springfield's true location, as well as explaining how we believe the show may actually be a show within a show. We are going through the looking glass here, people. Overall, this book is a love letter to honor a show that we grew up religiously watching on screens around the world. A 26-minute or so slither of brightly colored escapism that played such an integral part of our lives, much to the disapproval of our mums. The show's rare ability to capture universal humor has brought Simpsons fans of all ages together, and the show has become a staple of the cultural zeitgeist. This book is an encapsulation of our respect for the wonderfully talented writers, producers, and actors who have made, in our humble opinion, the greatest show on earth. So, crack open a Duff, slurp a squishy, or grab your blowtorch to ignite a hot pint of flaming moes as we take you inside the secret of The Simpsons.
Chapter 1. Animals. Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. A round of applause, please, for Anastasia. She loves show business. So much nicer than the savagery of the jungle. Yeah. Ernst, Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. Predicted, Season 5. Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. First aired in 1993. Came true, 2003. In 1993, we were introduced to the fabulous performers Gunter and Ernst, first appearing in The Simpsons Season 5 episode Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. They had their own magic show in Vegas. One of their acts involved a white Bengal tiger that could ride a unicycle while smoking a pipe. As the embarrassed feline performs her humiliating routine, she daydreams of a simpler time in the wild, relaxing in peace and paradise, until the two German entertainers shot a tranquilizer into her and dragged her to the city of sin, Las Vegas. Fed up with being a puppet, the tiger leaps onto Gunter and Ernst and starts tearing them to shreds. It comes as no surprise that Gunter and Ernst are a thinly veiled parody of Vegas legends Siegfried and Roy. The masters of the impossible wowed the public for years with their flamboyant personalities and incredible illusions. They often incorporated real white lions and tigers in their routine. These jungle cats were a big part of their act, where they would amaze audiences with tricks and stunts. The pair had performed various routines with these big cats on countless occasions in front of thousands of people. But in 2003, it all went wrong. During a routine performance at the Mirage Resort and Casino, a white tiger named Montecore clamped its strong jaws around Roy Horn's neck. It then dragged the unconscious magician off stage while a terrified audience looked helplessly on. Desperate trainers finally managed to wrangle Roy out of the jaws of the beasts after spraying canisters of repellent. Roy was taken to a hospital where he was left battling for his life due to heavy blood loss and a stroke. Thankfully, he survived the ordeal, but had to go through intense rehabilitation for his severe injuries. The Simpsons seemingly predicted this horrific incident 10 years before it happened in real life. While you could say it was inevitable, that playing with furious beasts was a ticking time bomb, This was, surprisingly, their first major incident in more than 30,000 shows. The Vegas Legends apparently had a collection of 63 lions and tigers, but this was the only time when one of them was attacked. Three-eyed fish. Charles Darwin actor. I would not mind having a third eye, would you, Monty? Mr. Burns. Oh, no, of course not. 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Predicted. Season 2. 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. First aired in 1990. Came true, 2011. Blinky, the iconic 3-eyed fish, was caught in Season 2's 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. And let's face it, basically, single-finnedly stopped Mr. Burns from becoming Springfield's dictator. This pesky little guy has been on the show longer than the likes of Dr. Hibbert, Comic Book Guy, and Troy McClure, so it's no wonder he's going to be a significant part of this book. His journey started even prior to his breakout role in Season 2, as he first appeared all the way back in Season 1, Episode 3's Homer's Odyssey. Back to the Season 2 episode. While out fishing, Bart Simpson catches Blinky in the nuclear power plant's reservoir, and it makes big news, photographed by Springfield shopper reporter Dave Shutton. This leads to state nuclear inspectors finding numerous safety violations and ordering Mr. Burns to fix them, or else. So, ever the conniving little entrepreneur, Burns plans to run for governor so he can pass laws that will keep the plant open, by doing away with the regulations which are costing him so much money. $56 million, to be exact. Mr. Burns then tries to convince doubters that Blinky was simply a product of natural selection, bringing on a very credible scientist, a Charles Darwin actor. But Marge Simpson isn't convinced and decides to serve Mr. Burns's God's own creation at his televised dinner with the family as part of his campaign. But Mr. Burns cannot bear to swallow the 3-eyed fish, dashing his political ambitions. Another outlandish Simpsons episode, huh? Well, it's not too far-fetched a story, as this happened in Argentina in 2011, when fisherman Julian Zmutt caught a 3-eyed fish reminiscent of Blinky. In a scary coincidence, Blinky 2.0 was caught in a lake where hot water from a nearby nuclear facility is released. At the time, Zmutt said he didn't notice the fish's third eye until well after he caught it. As it was dark at that time, we did not notice. This story made huge international news, and Blinky 2.0's face was plastered everywhere, and probably fueled children's nightmares for weeks. If you don't know why, go and have a look. This guy could give Nessie a run for her money. The story got so big that since then there have been a few copycat findings. In 2015, another 3-eyed catfish was found in New York in the Gowanus Canal. But the video footage is a little fishy. A passerby comes across the fisherman with his catch and observes the fish, apparently candidly, and the eye is eerily symmetrical atop the head of the poor guy, who looks like he was caught a few days ago. Argued by New York Magazine to be centered smack dab in the middle of the fish's head, suspiciously symmetrical for a mutation, this story was doubted. But a more credible catch was made in Canada's Lake Nipissing, when another 3-eyed fish, Louis, was found, and weirdly the outcome was even closer to the Simpsonian tale. Louis was dubbed an unlikely Blinky. Since he's the only one fished out of the lake to date, it stands to reason Louis's third eye is simply a genetic mutation. Vice.com, March 20th, 2014. And the scientists agree. I wonder if there was a Charles Darwin actor on the panel. But still, in all of these cases where the water source's purity was protested about, our Third Eye Fishy team has helped drive attention to the larger environmental issues. There's a reason why Blinky is the Springfield curling team's mascot, after all. Go team! Selling ferrets as toy poodles. You're not a pet and you're not a friend. You're nothing to me. Fat Tony, Papa's got a brand new badge. Predicted, Season 13, Papa's got a brand new badge. First aired in 2002. Came true, 2013. Fat Tony is the conductor of the criminal underbelly of Springfield. And looking at the size of him, we can imagine that this underbelly is pretty substantial. Voiced by Joe Mantegna, he is an amalgamation of film and TV Italian-American mob culture ranging from The Sopranos to The Godfather. Not unlike their legendary muses, the yellow cartoon mob have done some pretty horrific crimes, too, from tobacco and drug trafficking to feeding the children of Springfield Elementary rat's milk. It seems that the secret to Fat Tony's criminal success lies with rodents. Nope, not his cronies Johnny Tightlips, Tommy the Face Shooter, and Joey the Arsonist, but actual rodents. In Season 13's Papa's Got a Brand New Badge, an electrical blackout hits Springfield, and of course Homer is responsible. This drives the town into a frenzy of crime, resulting in antisocial behavior like looting, and Chief Wiggum is the brunt of the joke with his failure to restore order. Ironically, the guy who started the fiasco decides to be the one to control Springfield's crime scene, with Homer creating his own private police force, Spring Shield, and adopting the role of chief of police. During Homer's reign, they actually enforce some law and order, making the official police redundant. However, during a raid, Homer catches Fat Tony gluing cotton balls to ferrets in order to sell them off as poodles. Fat Tony swears revenge on our bumbling yellow protagonist via a radio interview, and Homer finds himself yet again in a standoff with the mafia. What started out as another one of Fat Tony's comedic schemes became a harsh reality for pet bargain hunters in 2013. In Argentina, a man got the shock of his life after buying two seemingly adorable toy poodles for $150 at La Salada Market, the biggest illegal market in South America. As you can imagine, when the excited owner took the puppies to the vet for their vaccinations, he was told there was something quite strange about the furry duo. The man had actually sold two giant rodents that had been pumped with steroids, and their fur dramatically manicured to make them resemble pampered poodles. What's even stranger, and what closes the gap between the Simpsons and the crimes of La Salada Market, is that the rodents were ferrets too. When the story was released to the media, a few other victims came forward and admitted they had also bought the ferrets, thinking they were cute new poodles. At least the guy wasn't alone. I do wonder if he kept the ferrets, but looking at them, I doubt it. Horse meat scandal. Lisa: isn't there anything here that doesn't have meat in it? Lunch Lady Doris: possibly the meatloaf. Lisa the vegetarian. Predicted, Season 5, Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, first aired in 1994. Came true, 2013. It seems that rat milk wasn't the only questionable cuisine Lunch Lady Doris was serving up to students during Bart and Lisa's 30-plus years of elementary school. Amongst delicacies, including gym mats, a very secret ingredient, was inserted into their diets. In Season 5's Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, Lunch Lady Doris goes into the back kitchen, where we can see her preparing lunch out of a giant canister labeled assorted horse parts, now with more testicles. Now, it would be horrifying if the prediction was about the latter ingredient, but luckily, as mentioned in the title, this feature is predominantly about horse meat, but heaven only knows what they're squeezing into patties. In 2013, restaurants, supermarkets, and Taco Bell alike were all unknowingly serving up horse meat to oblivious customers and consumers during the horse meat scandal of 2013. The scandal still goes down as the biggest food fraud of the 21st century, when supermarket burgers were tested and 80% of some meats was found to actually be horse rather than beef. It provoked the withdrawal of tens of millions of beef products across Europe, a huge question mark over the treatment and preparation of meat products, and therefore a spike in vegetarianism and veganism, which would make Lisa happy at least. It wasn't just horse either. Pork was also found in beef products. Therefore, this event not only reminds us of Springfield Elementary School lunches, but also Season 8's The Old Man and the Lisa. When Mr. Burns goes bankrupt, he is condemned to the life of normies like us and has to go grocery shopping. Let's hope he wasn't buying burgers. When his suffering is beyond his control, he asks Lisa to help him win back some money by recycling. This was an idea he scoffed at prior to his misfortune. He succeeds in creating a recycling empire, and you can start to see a real change in Burnsy. But, as is usually the case, he goes too far. The mad tycoon creates Little Lisa's recycling plant, which produces Little Lisa's slurry. The slurry is just a hot mess of fish harvested instantly from the ocean. Only in reality, meat farmers and sellers were doing the exact same, only with beloved farmyard animals. Now, I'm not saying that our meat farmers and sellers are as evil as Mr. Burns, but, well, maybe I am. Fun fact. Interestingly, the writers had always wanted an episode where Mr. Burns went bankrupt and to show audiences what he would be like as a person in the real world. The whole idea of the recycling plant was the maker's way of showing that Burns did not have an evil plan as such. He just could not help being himself. He really was trying to do good, and this was intelligently demonstrated when he tried to give Lisa her share of the profits. When Lisa refused, Burns was drawn without his signature scowl. Simpsons staff joked that this would have been a perfect series finale, combined with Homer suffering another heart attack after learning that Lisa had rejected 10% of Burns's $120 million check. Whacking Day. "Oh, God, no! You people make me sick." Barry White, Whacking Day. Predicted Season 4, Whacking Day, first aired in 1993. Came true, 2013. "We'll break their backs, gouge out their eyes, their evil hearts we'll pulverize. Oh, whacking day, may God bestow his grace on thee." Those are the charming lyrics that kick off Whacking Day, a public holiday in Springfield, when the town bludgeoned snakes for one day of the year. The Springfieldians would brandish their batons and charge the slithering serpents to the town square, where they would proceed to beat them to mush. The event was started by town founder Jebediah Springfield in 1975 and had been a yearly staple since, although there is the rumor that Whacking Day was actually invented in 1924 as an excuse to beat up the Irish. Although the town reveled in the animal abuse of innocent snakes, Lisa Simpson was appalled. She found the entire event cruel and unnecessary. Even Grammy Award winner Barry White was disgusted, telling the crowd, "You people make me sick." So Lisa and Bart joined forces to save the snakes by placing speakers on the ground and using the vibrations of Barry White's deep, sexy voice to attract the reptiles to their house. The children then appealed to the residents of the town, reminding them of all the good things snakes have done for them, like eating rodents. The town decided to ditch the ritual of Whacking Day and let all the snakes go free. Although this is meant to be seen as a happy ending, there is one state in particular that would be appalled to see all those snakes let loose. In 2013, Florida announced the Python Challenge, which was basically a public bounty on invasive snakes. Its goal was to raise public awareness about the dangers posed by Burmese pythons in Florida. The invasive species caused serious harm to the local wildlife and is devastating portions of the fragile Everglades ecosystem. The event aimed to teach the public how to track and remove these snakes. Organizers say they collected 68 Burmese pythons during the event, a number that surprised some experts. The snake-whacking-like event is now held annually, luring both professional and amateur snake killers into the Everglades for a 10-day hunt. In 2020, professional wildlife trapper Mike Python Cowboy Kimmel took home the coveted Python Bowl title after bagging 8 Burmese pythons. He even won an off-road ATV for his troubles. Unlike the snakes in Whacking Day, which were bludgeoned to death, captured snakes during the Python Challenge are humanely euthanized, with a shot to the head from a bolt gun. Although some may see it as cruel, looking at you, Lisa Simpson, it is unfortunately a necessity due to people abandoning their unwanted snakes in the wild. Invasion of the murder hornets. "The bee bit my bottom. Now my bottom's big." Homer Simpson. Homer Goes to College. Predicted Season 4, Marge in Chains. First aired in 1993. Came true, 2020. The episode Marge in Chains is often mentioned in articles for predicting a great many things. So many, in fact, it's been dubbed the 2020 prediction episode online. In this segment, we want to talk about killer bees. At the start of the episode, an outbreak of the Osaka flu infects the town of Springfield. This leads to a rally of people demanding an immediate vaccine. Dr. Hibbert attempts to assure the public that the flu is non-lethal, claiming, "Why, the only cure is bed rest. Anything I give you will only be a placebo." Someone demands, Where do we get these placebos? A man points to a vehicle and cries, "Maybe there's some in this truck." The mob pushes over the truck, which spills out crates of killer bees. These hordes of angry bees turn their wrath on the people, causing mass panic. Although this was a funny scene, it turns out that murderous stinging spawn invading the U.S. unfortunately came true. As if 2020 hadn't given us enough to be afraid of, it also threw in Asian giant hornets, affectionately nicknamed murder hornets. These are large, violent wasps with a foul temper. These aggressive creatures can sting a victim repeatedly, quickly pumping toxic venom into anyone that dares cross them. They are responsible for numerous deaths in Japan each year. You may be thinking, well, that's terrifying, but at least they are only found in Japan, right? Not anymore. In 2020, there were reports of murder hornets invading the United States. In addition to killing humans, the predators are known to eviscerate entire colonies of honeybees, a species already on the decline. It is believed this invasive species arrived from abroad in crates, much like the killer bees in The Simpsons. The Washington State Department of Agriculture released a statement that read, "Use extreme caution near Asian giant hornets. The stinger of the Asian giant hornet is longer than that of a honeybee, and the venom is more toxic than any local bee or wasp." Another thing The Simpsons got right is that you can eat the killer insect. Yes, really. During the bee attack in the episode, one of the townsfolk plucks a bee and eats it, leading him to cry, "I'm cured! Ouch!" Well, it turns out that murder hornets also make for a crunchy delicacy. The Asian giant hornet is considered a delicacy in Japan. There is even an annual edible wasp festival where you can gorge on the tasty critters. They also make for some delicious cocktails. The wasps are fermented in a liquid for a few years until the venom becomes less potent. The resulting bee booze is sure to get you buzzed. Sorry. There's some differences between the real-life event and The Simpsons, like these being bees, but in real life it was hornets. But that's only a technicality. It totally counts. Cut to shifty-eyed dog. Chapter 2. Arts and Entertainment. Covering up Michelangelo's David. Is it a masterpiece, or just some guy with his pants down? Kent Brockman, Itchy and Scratchy, and Marge. Predicted Season 2, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, first aired in 1990. Came true 2001. As with any exciting new television show that breaks the framework of previous tradition, The Simpsons attracted controversy and doubts across the USA. In its most basic form, it was just a cartoon with a bright yellow, colorful family getting into adventures every week. But do not be led to believe that this was a children's television show. The series deals with themes of religion, relationships, and suicide, all while maintaining a satirical and comic edge. Groening was loosely based on his original comic Life in Hell, which dealt with similar themes as well as Groening's initial anxiety about trying to make a name for himself in La La Land, Los Angeles, which all eventually morphed into The Simpsons. The show received criticism from surprised and often angry parents, pleading with the creators to tone down the violence, rude behavior, and coarse language, to which The Simpsons retorted via Helen Lovejoy's line, "Won't someone please think of the children?" In 2015, ethicist Jack Marshall wrote that this phrase stunted rationality, particularly conversations on morals. "Think of the children" has been invoked by censorship enforcers to shield children from perceived danger, thus suggesting that The Simpsons creators wanted to push censorship boundaries and expand minds to a more developed understanding than the overbearing religion-dictating parents who were probably writing those angry letters. Barbara Bush, the wife of President George H.W. Bush, condemned the show during an interview in 1990, calling The Simpsons the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The creators wrote a letter to Bush from the perspective of Marge, who was deeply hurt. She continued, "I always believed in my heart that we had a great deal in common. I hope there is some way out of this controversy." The former First Lady later retracted her statements, writing, "I'm looking at a picture of you depicted on a plastic cup, with your blue hair filled with pink birds peeking out all over. Evidently, you and your charming family, Lisa, Homer, Bart, and Maggie, are camping out. It is a nice family scene. Clearly, you are setting a good example for the rest of the country. Please forgive a loose tongue." Dealing with an onslaught of nagging from pushy parents to tone down the adult themes of the show, must have been a bugbear in the writer's room. So an episode was perhaps made in retaliation to this, and was also partly inspired by Terry Ricolta, a Fox Pro.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?